Some of these Sam's Club prices are dropping so fast, the sign on the shelf is basically lying to you by the time you finish reading it. Sam's Club is cutting home item prices hard right now, and some of the numbers we're tracking are well below what shoppers have been seeing anywhere else. A 4-piece organizer set around $10, a 110-foot hose under $30, a name brand cookware set around $141. And several of these aren't all just random sales. Sam's is working through inventory, seasonal sections are turning over, and once some clubs get down to those final boxes, the price you're looking at today may leave the store right along with them. But that doesn't mean every yellow tag deserves your money. Some of these are genuinely useful at the new price. A couple are only interesting if they already solve a problem in your house. And at least one looks tempting until you stop and ask whether you'd actually use it enough to justify the space it takes up. So instead of treating this like a catalog, we're doing what Sam's Club isn't going to do for you. We're filtering the shelf. And stick around for number 1. It's the item people keep telling themselves, I'll grab it next time. And it's exactly the one most likely to disappear first. Here are 10 home item markdowns worth knowing about in August 2026. 10. Clearly 4-piece organizing bin set. $10.65. Sam's Club has this 4-piece. Clearly organizer set down to $10.65, and this is exactly the kind of clearance item shoppers ignore until the cheaper stack is gone. They're just plastic bins, sure, but if your pantry, fridge, bathroom cabinet, or laundry shelf already looks like a small emergency, this is where the price starts making sense. No fancy makeover, no big project. Just 4 bins solving one annoying problem for barely more than $10. And let's be honest, everybody has one cabinet where snack bags collapse on each other, packets vanish behind boxes, and half-empty containers somehow take up twice the space they should. That's why I actually like this markdown. It's boring in the best possible way. You either know exactly where these are going, or you don't. Be honest. Would you use all 4 right away, or would they become 4 more things sitting around waiting to be organized? The interesting part is that this set has been showing higher online, so $10.65 is the number worth watching if your club is working through the remaining stock. I wouldn't stockpile them just because they're marked down. But if the mess already exists, this is one of those small clearance buys you notice most after the cheaper units are gone and you're staring at the same clutter. 9. Members Mark Outdoor Table Lamps 2-pack, $19.17. Now this one feels like a seasonal cleanup price. 2 Members Mark outdoor table lamps for $19.17 tells you Sam's is starting to care more about clearing floor space than keeping every summer accessory around. And that can work in your favor because buying outdoor lighting one piece at a time gets expensive fast. These lamps don't need a dramatic sales pitch. They make sitting outside after dark more comfortable. Dinner on the patio, cards with family, coffee outside, maybe a quiet evening without turning on that giant porch light that makes everybody look like they're being questioned at the airport. For around $20, that's a simple upgrade. Ask yourself, would you actually use these outdoors, or would they end up boxed away after one weekend? The thing to watch is the remaining inventory. Outdoor accessories are exactly the kind of products that can hit a final markdown and then get pulled from the floor once the section changes. If you already wanted a pair, $19.07 is worth grabbing. If you don't need them, let Sam's clear them without using your money to help. 8. Members Mark 110-foot professional hose, $27.31. This next markdown is more practical. The Members Mark 110-foot professional hose is down to $27.31, below where it has been showing online, and that's the kind of price that gets interesting once outdoor inventory starts thinning out. The bigger story here is the length. 110 feet can reach a driveway, a larger yard, or that one corner a shorter hose always seems to miss. And anyone who has owned a bad hose knows the frustration. You pull it across the yard, nothing comes out, walk back, fix the kink, move forward, and somehow it kinks again like it has a personal issue with you. That's why this can be a real upgrade for someone replacing an old one. But if your current hose already works fine, don't let the markdown convince you that you suddenly need another one. Here's the real test. How many hoses does one yard really need? This is where timing matters. Outdoor utility products can go from plenty left to final units fast once Sam's starts clearing seasonal space. If yours is cracked, too short, or already is on the way out, $27 or $31 could be the sweet spot. The loss isn't missing a hose. It's needing one later and realizing the lower price left the shelf first. Quick pause for a second. If you like knowing which Sam's Club markdowns are actually worth your money and which ones are better left on the shelf, hit the like button and subscribe to Frugal Files, because a lower price doesn't always mean a better buy. And the next few items are where these clearance prices start getting a lot more serious. 7. Members Mark Cooling Body Pillow. $9.42. Sam's Club has this Members Mark cooling body pillow down to $9.42s, and at that price, the real question isn't whether it's cheap. It's whether you already use this kind of pillow. If you do, this is the kind of clearance number that gets interesting fast, especially once stores start working through what's left of the run. If you sleep on your side, use extra support, or somehow end every night surrounded by 6 pillows like you're building a defensive wall, you already understand the appeal. The pillow has hundreds of ratings and sits above 4 stars, so this isn't some random product nobody wanted. And replacing an old body pillow for under $10 is hard to argue with. The real question, would you wait for another $1 or $2 off, or take the $9.42 price while your preferred option is still there? That's where clearance gets tricky. At some point, the potential savings gets smaller than the chance of coming back and finding the remaining pile gone. 6. Calphalon 10-piece cookware set, $141.07. Now this one needs a little more caution. The Calphalon 10-piece cookware set is around $141.07 in the clearance pricing we're tracking, while the same general set has been showing much higher online. So yes, the markdown is meaningful, but a lower price doesn't automatically make a full cookware set the right purchase. If your pans are scratched, warped, missing lids, or you've been replacing pieces one at a time, this is where the bundle starts to make sense. 10 matching pieces can save you from buying a skillet now, a saucepan later, and slowly paying full price across several separate purchases. That's the real value here. Be honest, do you need new cookware, or do you just like the way 10 shiny pieces look in the box? If you already have a set you like, $141 is still $141. If you are already planning a replacement though, this is exactly the kind of clearance price worth watching before Sam's works through the remaining sets. 5. Keter Adirondack chair, $59.98. The Keter Adirondack chair is at $59.98, and this is one of those seasonal items where the price matters, but the timing matters even more. Bulky patio furniture takes up a lot of floor space, and once stores start clearing that section, the remaining chairs can move faster than shoppers expect. What I like here is simple usefulness. A real seat for the porch, fire pit, or backyard can turn an outdoor space from something you look at into something you actually use. And unlike the bargain patio chair that starts making suspicious noises after one season, this category is usually about buying something you expect to leave outside and use again. The real question isn't the price, it's, would you actually sit in this several nights a week, or would it become a very expensive place to stack towels and garden tools? I wouldn't call $59.98 as a once-in-a-lifetime price, but if you already wanted one and your club is down to the remaining stock, this is the kind of markdown that gets harder to replace once the shelf turns over. 4. Shark Rocket Pro Vacuum, $99.98. Sam's Club has the Shark Rocket Pro down to $99.98, and this one stands out because it solves a problem that never really goes away. Floors get dirty. Pets shed. Crumbs appear under the table 5 minutes after you cleaned it. If you already wanted a lighter stick-style vacuum, this is the kind of markdown that deserves a second look before the remaining units are gone. What I like here is frequency. This isn't a product you buy to admire. You use it over and over again. But don't expect one lightweight vacuum to replace every deep cleaning machine in the house. For quick pickups and routine messes, the price makes sense. For a huge carpeted home with heavy cleaning needs, maybe not as your only machine. Ask yourself, would $99.98 be enough to make you replace your current vacuum, or would you keep waiting? A markdown doesn't make the product more powerful than it is, but it can make the right tool a lot easier to justify. These don't get restocked at this number, they get cleared. 3. Troy-Bilt 3000 PSI pressure washer, $259. Now we have a markdown that actually changes the conversation. The Troy-Bilt 3000 PSI pressure washer is around $215, down from roughly $329.98 in the pricing we're tracking. That's about $70 less, and for homeowners with real outdoor cleaning jobs waiting, this is where the clearance starts getting serious. Driveway, deck, patio, fence, siding, this is not something you buy because the box looks impressive. You should already know what you're cleaning. And if you've ever hosed down one strip of an old driveway and discovered it was a completely different color underneath, you already understand why this thing earns a spot in the garage, right next to the guilt of not owning one sooner. Here's the real test. Would you buy one at $259 or would you still rent when you need it? That answer decides whether this is a bargain or just a large machine taking up garage space. If you already plan to own one, though, waiting too long can mean the final units move while the dirty driveway stays exactly where it is. So, next Grill 5, Burner Daytona. $204. This is the kind of price that can make a large grill look more reasonable than it really is. The Next Grill 5 Burner Daytona is around $204, while this model has appeared online much higher, including around $295. That gap is big enough to suggest Sam's is getting more aggressive about moving the remaining seasonal inventory. 5 burners can be genuinely useful if you cook outside for family or friends. Burgers on one side, chicken somewhere else, vegetables going, and hot dogs for the one person who somehow rejects every other option on the menu every single time. But if you cook one steak twice a month, 5 burners may be more grill than your life actually needs. So here's the question. Do you already cook outside often enough to use this? Or is the markdown creating the fantasy for you? At $204, the price is strong for the right shopper. And because bulky seasonal boxes don't get more valuable to the store as the floor changes, this is one I'd watch closely if your club is down to what's left. 1. Ninja Air Fryer, $99, and here's the one I told you to wait for. Sam's Club has the Ninja Air Fryer around $99, and this is the item people keep meaning to grab and keep putting off, which is exactly why it's the one most likely to be gone before the next time ever shows up. This isn't a gadget most people buy once and forget. For the right household, it becomes part of the weekly routine. Quick dinners, leftovers, frozen food, small meals when turning on the full oven feels ridiculous. And if your club is already working through the remaining units, this is exactly where waiting for a slightly lower number can turn into missing the price completely. The real appeal here is convenience, not hype. You get home late, dinner still needs to happen, there's leftover pizza in the fridge, maybe chicken or fries in the freezer, and the microwave is standing by, ready to ruin the texture of everything in sight. That's where the Ninja earns its place. The model sold through Sam's has strong customer feedback and more than 100 ratings, which at least tells us this isn't some mystery clearance appliance with a brand name that looks like somebody dropped a keyboard. So here's the question. If you already wanted an air fryer, would you take the $99 price now or gamble on another markdown? Maybe it drops to $89, maybe lower. Or maybe the last boxes sell and that decision gets made for you. If you already own one you like, keep your $100. But if you are planning to buy or replace one and know you'd use it several times a week, this is exactly the kind of clearance number worth paying attention to before Sam's clears through what's left. Which one of these markdowns would actually make you stop at the shelf? And which one could Sam's cut even further and you'd still leave behind? Drop it in the comments, because I want to know where you draw the line between a real bargain and a clearance trap. And remember, these aren't sale prices that come back next month. Once a club sells through what's left, that number is gone, not paused. If you like having someone filter the markdowns instead of just reading price tags back to you, hit the like button and subscribe to Frugal Files. And watch the next video, because Walmart is discontinuing several items right now, and some of those prices have dropped to numbers that are honestly hard to believe. If you thought these Sam's Club markdowns were aggressive, wait until you see what Walmart is trying to clear out next.